It was mostly concerning breaking by one of our known lots car dealers here on the island in Cold Bay. Up to now, the details are still a little sketchy. The information came in about 11:45 last night that some persons were busy stealing parts or breaking into some cars on the used car lot next to the police station in Cold Bay. At arrival, the officers saw one gentleman in there, and he tried to jump the fence, which he didn't get through, and he tried to run through the main entrance. On seeing one of the officers by the main entrance, he took up a rock and tried to assault maybe the officer there, and the officer decided to stop that by injuring the suspect with one shot to his lower leg. He was arrested and taken to the medical center, and after that treatment, he's being held here at the station. Further questions.
Based on the situation as is, you said that one person has been apprehended, but do you have any knowledge as to exactly how many persons were involved in this attempted robbery?
We are not sure. I know for sure, as the information is, it's more than one, but the detectives, them are still sorting out that part of it, and that was the unclear part.
The investigation in question undoubtedly is continuing at this time, Inspector, but the police officer involved in the shooting, what happens to him? I mean, in this case, is there an investigation also targeting the police officer?
Of course. The process is that he also would be investigated for the legality of the use of the firearm, and the internal affairs is busy with that investigation at the moment.
In the meantime, does he or she remains on the job?
Yes, until another decision is made, he and she will be on the job until further decision taken from the prosecutor's office or the internal affairs.
My question regarding the issue of the status of the emergency housing projects, emergency between brackets, and the you gave the different expiration dates, but my question had to do with any intention, any thoughts with respect to what happens now. Those that are already expired, will the situation just continue? And then the question would be until when? Those that are on the brink of expiring, I'm talking now about the agreement. What is government's intention? So what are you considering to do for the different projects? And what are some of the bottlenecks that you might encounter in having a policy for these projects and the inhabitants of these projects beyond the expiration of the agreement? So that's more what I was thinking of in terms of asking for the status. The second matter that I would like clarified, Minister, and again, with respect to policies, guidelines, proposals for long lease, and you quoted me the relevant articles in the Civil Code as well as in the ordinance regarding long lease itself. But again, my question had more to do with a general approach to these different situations that you encounter as part of long lease. Those who have long lease for I don't know how many years and do not have the papers, have built, because the minister would agree with me that there are many situations that are not straight according to the guidelines. And again, so is the minister thinking of a sort of a general policy while he is looking at cleaning up the whole long lease database? So my question was more in that respect again. What can you do? What will you do? What are you thinking of doing to basically rectify these different situations that exist on the long lease? And as I mentioned, you have those who have long lease, it has not been formulated, whose long lease degrees have been expired, etc., etc. So those type of situations, any general thoughts regarding how to approach them? I don't think it's the minister or minister's first intention, and if I'm wrong, then correct me, to go and terminate situations because right now they are not strictly according to the book. So that's where my question was heading with respect to that, Minister. So if you can clarify those two from those perspectives, I would be grateful.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Thank you, MP Westcott Williams, for your points of clarification. With respect to the emergency home projects, that is a meeting that we still have to conclude with the Housing Development Foundation and our financial controller as to how we proceed with those that are expired and those that will become expired in the near future. So those talks are still ongoing. And with respect to the long lease and how we deal with all the different situations, as I alluded to in the question of MP Boncamper, we have a task force now that is basically trying to collect all the outstanding fees, given our government's liquidity position, and trying to collect on long lease fees. And all the specific cases are dealt with on a case-by-case basis. So there's no general policy with respect to how do you handle a situation where a decree expired and so forth. All of those things are being dealt with on a case-by-case basis, and how the individual found themselves in that particular position. I hope that clarifies the answer to your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Yes, this is the month of domestic violence awareness. This year, more than any other year, stakeholders have gone above and beyond to engage the community, but also by fortifying the bonds in order to provide better social support to those affected by abuse. Personally, I feel that Domestic Violence Awareness Month is a bit bittersweet. You know, it's most of the time in general, when an occasion is commemorated, it has a festive aspect to it. Something is celebrated, or someone is celebrated, a birthday, a graduation. Even with breast cancer awareness, you find that the survivors are celebrated, or we show compassion to those that lost their loved ones. Of course, with domestic violence, we acknowledge the courage and the bravery of those that were able to leave their abusers. But then at the same time, domestic violence is not like cancer. It doesn't happen to you by accident. It is enforced by someone who thinks that they are superior and will do anything to exert power and control over their partner. And that makes it so painful. In fact, as King Versia said, 1 in 3 women are affected during their lifetime by some form of domestic violence. And that's why professionals call it a pandemic. Thanks to this year, we all know what it means to be affected by a pandemic. In that sense, that should create more compassion and understanding in our hearts towards individuals that are experiencing abuse. So, Sweet St. Martin Land is no exception to this domestic violence pandemic. And that's why Safe Haven was established. At Safe Haven, we provide quality care and shelter for our women and their minor children. We uphold human rights. We don't discriminate on the basis of ethnicity, culture, sexual orientation, or citizenship. We are devoted to ensuring that our women receive care that allows them to heal and empower themselves. Any woman that reaches out to Safe Haven is treated with dignity and respect. And when she walks through our doors, she knows that she is welcome.
My next question will be directed to Ms. Sandra Whitfield, the prosecutor. What are some of the laws regarding domestic violence in St. Martin?
The violence has happened. So a perpetrator abuses someone, threatens someone, stalks someone, physical abuse, sexual abuse. You have all different kinds of abuse that are stated in the criminal law and that are punishable. Also, you have a civil code, and that says that parents should nurture their children properly and don't abuse their children. That's a basic rule. But of course, as a prosecutor, I have to deal with the criminal law. And there are different kinds of domestic violence. As I said, you have the physical abuse, but also you have the threatening. And it's not always a relationship where the domestic violence happens. Oftentimes it's a relationship that's already over, like violence between exes, or you can have violence between children against their parents, or children against their grandparents. There are all different kinds of domestic violence cases that we have at the prosecutor's office. And some are severe, like real severe physical abuse, or maybe murder or manslaughter. And others, like insult and stalking, are maybe a little severe, but still for the victim it has a big impact. So that's the criminal law has all kind of sentences for this kind of violence. And it must be said that in the case of physical abuse, when the father physical abuses his child, or a child his father, or between spouses or between partners, then the criminal law says that the judge can punish higher, assert higher in these kind of cases. So that's because our legislator always also thinks that we should punish severe for this kind of abuse and violence.
So I'd like to piggyback off of something that Sandra said and direct this question to Patricia. So after hearing what is prosecutable by the prosecutor, what kind of domestic violence situations does KPSM normally see, and how are these approached by the officers?
The one that we're mostly facing is the physical abuse. Right now, the officers are in training how to deal with these situations, because especially with the physical, sometimes it's indoors. You go to a home, you knock on a door, neighbor call, and then the suspect answer the door, you don't see the female. But then they have to learn that they need to see the female before they walk away from there. They need to get more information. So we're dealing with training them to look at certain things. There are certain things that we can't walk away from. There's certain things that we can't mediate anymore. So we had to take it on a difficult level. We are dealing with also the ex, like the prosecutor said. We have some of the ex can't take a no. They can't take it's finished, stalking, harassment, sending messages, threatening. Those is one of the common ones that we are also dealing with. The another common one, we sometimes deal with is sexual. We have also caretakers that is abusing the person that the elderly that they're taking care of. We have children abusing their parents, especially if the parents are old. They neglect them, they leave them in the home, don't feed them well, and then sometimes they beat them because old people sometimes they come back to children's state and they don't understand that, and they physically they abuse the parents. So those are the common ones that we are dealing with.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast. Fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
How are you doing this morning?
Good.
So, Rebecca, thank you for coming. I work as a psychologist at the Mental Health Foundation. I mainly see children and adolescents, but I also see adults.
So whenever there's a crowd, that's when you're starting to feel
nervous.
Okay.
Nauseous.
Okay. It is kind of like your body. We are so used to taking care of our body. If we have a little ache in our foot, we know to rest it. We know, okay, I might have walked too much, so I need to rest. Now, of course, that can be just an ache in my foot, but I can also break my leg. Now, for breaking my leg, I would have to go to the doctor. So that kind of goes the same for mental health illnesses. So you can come in for something little as, I'm really stressed out lately. What would you need? A little bit of rest. But someone can also come in with way more difficulties. We're not here to judge right or wrong, good or bad. Is it helpful for you? Fine. Is it not helpful for you? Okay, then let's see what we can do about it. But not a wrong nor right, absolutely not. It's a magnifying glass without judgment.
Well, there's still a lot of stigma on the island, unfortunately. It's not a topic that people easily talk about, and that's a shame. They're afraid that they get judged, and there is still quite a bit of judgment. I mean, often we hear, don't go to that crazy house. Once you go in, you never go back. And it's just not true, We treat a lot of patients here, and a lot of them, we get back on their feet.
Our goal at the Mental Health Foundation is for us to help you improve your life, for you to live a better, happier, and fuller life.
Last week saw the first decline in newly reported cases globally since September, due to a decrease in cases in Europe thanks to the effectiveness of difficult but necessary measures put in place in recent weeks. This is welcome news, but it must be interpreted with extreme caution. Gains can easily be lost, and there was still an increase in cases in most other regions of the world, and an increase in deaths. This is no time for complacency, especially with holiday season approaching in many cultures and countries. We all want to be together with the people we love during festive periods. But being with family and friends is not worth putting them or yourself at risk. We all need to consider whose life we might be gambling with in the decisions we make. The COVID-19 pandemic will change the way we celebrate, but it doesn't mean we can't celebrate. We still can celebrate. The changes you make will depend on where you live. Always follow your local or national guidelines. The first question to ask yourself is, do you need to travel? Do you really need to travel? For many people, this is a season for staying home and staying safe. Celebrate with your household and avoid gatherings with many different households and families coming together. If you do meet people from a different household, meet outdoors if you can. Maintain physical distance and wear a mask. Avoid crowded shopping centers. Shop at less crowded times and use online shopping if you can. If traveling is essential, take precautions to minimize the risk for you and others. Maintain distance from others and wear a mask when you're in airports and train stations and on planes, trains, and buses. Carry hand sanitizer with you or wash your hands frequently with soap and water. If you feel unwell, don't travel. If we can't celebrate as normal this year, make a plan to celebrate with your family and friends once it's safe to do so. We know it will be safe. It's a matter of time. The pandemic will end, and we all have a part to play in ending it. And we must remember that for millions of people, COVID-19 is only one health threat they face on a daily basis. Tomorrow is a World AIDS Day. The world has made incredible progress on HIV/AIDS over the past 10 years. New HIV infections have declined by 23% since 2010, and AIDS-related deaths have fallen by 39%. A record 26 million people are on antiretroviral treatment, but the pace of increase has slowed, and that leaves 12 million people who are living with HIV but are not on treatment. And 12 million is big. That gap is jeopardizing our goal of ending AIDS as a public health threat by 2030.